What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my 2020 Toyota Supra completely POV, so you guys can completely immerse yourself inside this car to really see what it's like to drive this thing around. So just a quick look at it. There are a ton of fake vents everywhere in the front bumper, on the hood, the door panels, and in the rear. They do look pretty cool, however they serve zero function whatsoever. Pretty aggressive rear end with the diffuser. You can see the parking sensors in it. Very good looking car overall. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at the trunk space. This is a hatchback design, so it actually is very usable. And then in the back, this cover comes up with the hatch. You can just see how much space we have. There's two speakers back there as well. And this whole cover is removable for larger items. We have grab handles on each side to make it very easy to close. Then as we go on the inside to take a look at the engine, just like with a BMW, you pull that twice, and if you are not familiar with this car, BMW and Toyota jointly developed the vehicle. It is built in Austria right alongside the BMW Z4, built completely by BMW. However, Toyota has done a lot of tuning and designing with the vehicle. This is a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder engine with 336 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. While that is the power on paper, these cars are actually proving to be dynoed around 400 wheel torque and around 340 wheel horsepower. So they're a lot quicker than you think. So now as we go to the interior with the car lock, this is a smart key. Mirrors fold in. All you have to do is grab the door handle. Everything unlocks and we can get a good look at the interior. My car is a premium, so it is finished off in black leather with white stitching everywhere. Hopping inside, it does have a little bit lower roof line than normal cars, so it's a little bit tight getting in. We have a leather wrapped steering wheel with white stitching on it. Pretty nice 3-spoke design right out of an older 3 Series BMW. We have cruise control buttons over on the left side, and then all your radio and Bluetooth controls over on the right side, as well as steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. In the center, you'll notice a lot of BMW for the infotainment screen, the climate controls, as well as the shifter and more buttons down below. To go ahead and start it up, roars to life. We have a full digital display with your tach in the center, and then your speed on the left side, and navigation will also pop up over in the right side. So this is just a good look at the overall interior of the car. Very nice to sit in, pretty nice materials overall. Visibility is pretty good. That window does a really good job. A little bit smaller right here, but pretty good overall. And then looking over your right side, the C-pillar is pretty large, but with the mirrors adjusted properly along with a blind spot alert, it's actually really no big deal around town, so I don't have any issues with it. Now, one nice trick with the car, if you go ahead and just hit the engine button once, go ahead and put it into sport mode with the vehicle already warmed up. You'll hear a nice little pop like that. It'll automatically open up that exhaust valve. So now let's have some fun in the Supra real quick and then talk about what it's like to drive. far as the performance driving in the car, there's a lot of low-end torque. I'd say once you get to about 5,000 RPM, it kind of falls flat on its face just a little bit. But I like with the steering, it feels very controlled whenever you take some sharp turns with the car. Seems like you really can point this car in the exact direction that you want it to go. The paddle shifters are in a nice spot right on the actual steering wheel. They're always where your hands are. The 8-speed transmission does a really good job giving you a lot of feedback and responsiveness. The shifts pretty much happen instantaneously. As you can see, hitting the downshift, the tachometer, since it is digital, is lightning quick to respond. And as you take a lot of sharp turns, the car really does a good job letting you control it. And since the transmission is so quick, it does a really good job just getting out of the turns. The braking is a really good point of the car as well. These Brembos do a great job. And then sharper turns like this, the car is really light on its toes. And I have it into the performance traction setting, and that way it can let me play with a little bit more. In the normal traction, a lot of times it will cut power, but this is a pretty good mode if you don't want to completely spin out. But braking, very good. The overall control for a sports car is very on point. The higher speeds, the car does seem a little floaty left to right. I think a little bit stiffer suspension might be a good way to go. And then slower starting accelerations in first gear. It rockets you between shifts. And if you can see in the center of the gauge, just by the tach, there actually is a really cool illumination that lights up when you get to red line. And then if we put the car now into automatic and take it out of sport mode, the car tones down quite a lot. It just becomes a nice refined BMW luxury car. And that is definitely a really good aspect to the daily driving aspects for this car. Comes right to a stop. Then now accelerating into automatic mode, this is the most conservative setting. The car tones down so much to where it just feels like a normal car. Not really any drama to it. It shifts very smooth. You don't feel anything. You don't hear the exhaust. The road noise and wind noise is pretty limited, I would say, at least comparing it to other cars I've driven. It seems to be a pretty comfortable car as far as daily driving. Cruise control is activated by just pressing that upper button. And like BMWs, this toggle switch right here, if you click it up just once, it'll go up 1 mile an hour at a time, but pushing it all the way up, it'll do 5 mile an hour increments, which is a really easy way to adjust your cruise control. This does have the adaptive cruise control, heads-up display, forward collision, so it has a lot of the tech in it. And then just as far as normal daily driving, this is a car that you can actually very comfortably drive like a normal vehicle. The automatic is really good around town and slow speeds. The overall maneuverability is really nice. And even in the most conservative setting right now, just normal mode automatic, the car still has a lot of response. You can tell it's a sports car. Steering is noticeably a lot lighter than it was when we were in sport mode. But even with the car toned down, there still is a lot of feedback as to what is happening with the car and how I'm controlling it. Steering is pretty light. I'd say there's a little bit of wiggle room of me turning it without the car really doing much. So that is good for your daily commute. And then for the visibility, just looking out as we're driving, you have a pretty good view out. So if we put it back into manual mode and then sport mode, the steering is noticeably heavier and everything just gets a little bit stiffer. Suspension's a little bit more stiff now as well. And then top end acceleration. Now with the stock configuration, stock tune and stock turbo, like a lot of vehicles are without any type of upgrades, it does fall a little bit flat in the higher RPM. You can tell it is limited in horsepower. So under the 80-90 mile an hour mark, the car definitely feels quick. Just above that, as you lose the top end, other cars with more horsepower are gonna start taking off. But as we have seen, these cars with exhaust upgrades and tuning, these things get way up to the 500 horsepower and torque mark. So that'll definitely help out the car. But as far as using all this technology in it, it is BMW, but it makes it very easy to use. I don't see any issues with how everything is configured. We do have these sport displays on right now that shows you your horsepower and your torque. Kind of a neat little gimmick to take a look at. And then into slower speeds as we make a U-turn, I really like the usability of the backup camera and parking sensors. So very easy to pop it into reverse. You might not see it with the glare, but the camera is very HD and very wide angle, so I can easily see everything. Parking sensors are all around the car. Even in drive, everything still shows up. But like I said, with the different modes, in the normal mode now, the steering is very lightweight. It's a very easy car to drive in the slow speed around the town settings, which I like for a car like this. It can be a comfortable luxury car, but it can also be very performance oriented. This is a sports car at the end of the day, you know, wears that Supra badge in the rear. So I like how it does have two cars in one. And then as far as usability goes, it is just a two-seater. There's no space behind the actual seats. The trunk space is pretty large, so you can fit some good items back there. And then as far as build quality goes, everything is pretty good. The doors are a little cheap feeling with some plastics on them. The top of the dash isn't leather, even though it looks like it. Overall though, pretty nice for the price range and kind of the packaging you get in the car. And even with the stock configuration for the turbo and the tuning, I think there's plenty of power, and we've done some performance videos against this and the Audi R8, which has about 100 more horsepower from a V8, and this thing destroys it. So it is pretty impressive how a car with such little power figures from the factory, of course Toyota is definitely underrating the actual power, but a smaller turbo engine like this, it produces quite a punch stock. And then of course once you do some tuning to it, that really opens it up to be a pretty capable performance car. But even just on some backcountry roads, I like how direct the steering feels. It really feels like I'm controlling the car. And given we have a lower roof line like this, it feels hunkered down and feels like a special vehicle to look at. And then the overall seating position and comfort level, I really like these seats a lot. They're very easy to use. I like how the base of the seat right here actually comes up a little bit farther than normal, so your leg has some good support to it. The bolsters are actually pretty large as well, and there is a button to make them a little bit tighter and a little bit looser depending on what size you are. So I fit very nice in the car. I am 5'11", slender body type, but these seats hug me very well. My legs feel good. The steering wheel is tilting and telescoping, so you can get it into a really good spot. As you can see, my arms are bent at a nice degree, so I'm not super far away from them, but I'm not right up on it as well. So I like the overall position of everything. And then back in automatic, just conservative mode, you know, normal acceleration, letting it shift, you know, it gets up to speed with no issues. This is not a slow car by any means. In fact, I would definitely consider this a pretty quick car, and then once it's tuned up and everything, then it'll be a very fast car. But I really enjoy just, I don't know, the overall drive. It's a really good car to drive. I think it is a driver's car if you're wanting something where you could daily, but then still have a really fun time with. You know, this is a car, you can kind of do it all. It has a lot to offer. Now, as far as things you touch and feel and how things are laid out, the steering wheel I really like a lot. When I first test drove the car, I wasn't the biggest fan. I thought it was a little skinny up here. I wouldn't mind it just a little bit thicker, just to have a little bit better grip on it. But when your hands are at 9 and 3, you have good notches to place your thumb, so it's really easy to hold the steering wheel. The paddle shifters are right there, and you still have good access to get to the different stalks behind the steering wheel. And all the thumb controls on the steering wheel are also very easy to use. All the climate controls are very close to your hand, as you'll notice. With my arm just on the armrest here, all I have to do is put my hand like this and I can get right to everything. So adjusting climate controls is very easy to use. You don't have to reach for anything. Larger cars, you definitely have to. And then the shifter is pretty close to your hand. You don't have to reach for it either. So just bumping it over to manual and back is pretty easy to do. And then the radio controls, these are a little close. You do have to bend your arm a little awkwardly to get to. Maybe if you are a little bit shorter, they might be a little bit better positioned for you. But for me at least, I do have to bend my arm a little far back to get to the sport mode button, the traction control button, and the dial is a little awkward. Nothing too crazy though. Headlight controls are over here. Window controls are very easy to get to. But that is the overall driving experience, a POV test drive, and some really good exhaust clips for the 2020 Supra. If you are looking for a fun to drive sports car that can actually be very comfortable for daily use with a lot of the smart technology in it, I really don't see too many complaints with the car. If you want to see more on the Supra, definitely subscribe to our channel and check out plenty more videos to come. But that is going to wrap up the Supra. Give it a big thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next video.